In this part of my evaluation, I'm looking into what I learned from my target audience feedback. To start off with, I've learned a lot from my audience feedback and would say it's one of the most key parts of my project, which made it to the standard I wanted it to be. This was due to finding out what needed improving, including colour schemes, main images, and locations, amongst other things. All my feedback was constructive, even when it was negative. Therefore, therefore, it was only used to improve my products. By this, I took note of feedback and then went back to my product and changed it where needed. This is important as my product needed to fulfill the needs of my target audience. Overall, my audience feedback did allow me to make my final product grow and change. For example, when my target audience told me that my locations should be more urban, um, and that I should be using more variety of places, I applied this. Originally, a lot of my locations were in green spaces, but then due to adhering to my target audience, what they wanted, and also the genre, we had to change it and then use urban locations, which can be viewed in the video. Um, when asking for feedback for my album advert, my target audience suggested that I should use more of the music video platforms, as in today's world, and that's how my target audience listened and downloaded the song. So, like for example, um, including links to Spotify, Apple Music, which I did include, but originally I didn't. With my album advert, I got feedback about designing the font and about the font and making it stand out more, because originally my target audience felt that it didn't stand out enough. Therefore, I took the initiative to go back to the font and find a font that was similar to my inspiration, which was Kendrick Lamar on the album Damn. But yeah, then I changed it to make it bigger and bolder and stand out more. Um, for my music video, when it was played back to my target audience, they said there should be more effects. Originally, they felt it was quite bland and basic, and due to the song being so long, um, due to the lack of animations and like exciting editing skills, there wasn't enough to keep the audience entertained, which was probably my most large part of feedback, because it took the most time, and it meant there was a whole reshift in the idea of the project, which had to be applied. Um, so therefore, I personally took lead in some animations and some extra editing skills to just boost our product up a bit. Um, Another thing that was mentioned about my music video was that the variety of shots and also the products being used. So originally there wasn't enough props being used, such as buses, cars, roads, which didn't really give it the urban feel that I needed. So yeah, with that, um, I had to go change that, and that meant refilming and readjusting the product. But yeah, all my target audience feedback was very helpful, and without it, it wouldn't be the product it is today. My research was completely vital into making my video relevant to my target audience. Um, Firstly, we had to, as a group, we had to ask our target audience feedback, as essentially they were the ones that we were aiming it towards. So therefore, it had to be suited to them. If they didn't understand parts of it, if they didn't like parts of it, it was our job to really take their feedback and act on it to make it relevant to them. So if they didn't understand a location or didn't like a certain costume, it'd be so important for us to know in order to fix it and make sure it was aimed at them. Um, my research was important as we needed to see the trend of outfits, and that the artist and what the artist wore during all other rap genre videos. For example, I looked at a few videos from the artist Nav, the group Migos, and also J Cole himself, to really make sure it fit the genre, to make it so so it's really suited for the target audience. We found out they were mostly dark, baggy clothes. For example, a black hoodie with black trousers was a main theme. Of course, it was vital as it had to suit our artist and our genre. Another important part of the research was finding out what locations were typically used in this genre for music video. Reference before, we said we originally had to change the whole idea of the green idea, as it wasn't suited to our genre and therefore not our target audience. This is really underpinned in my research and my feedback, as the most criticism we had was of locations and how it didn't suit the target audience. So therefore, it was very important that as a group, as an individual, we took real onus on that and changed what we needed to change. Another part of the project, which was important that it suited the genre and the target audience, was props. Originally, didn't use enough props that were suited for the target audience. For example, as a change we had to make, we had to use the shot where there was the frame of our main actor with three males who were smoking, which is quite related to our target audience, and also very associated to the rap genre. My feedback was very successful, as I learned a lot from it, and it prompted me in knowing how to improve my video and what to change. Without the feedback from my target audience, I might not have been able to successfully apply the conventions of my target audience and what they like and what they don't like. We might not give them what they wanted, so by asking them for options and what looks good, it gave us constructive feedback and what to keep and what to change. For example, towards the end of our music video, it became repetitive and boring, and by our target audience telling us that, it made us change certain things referenced before about including animations and exciting editing skills, just to switch it up a bit really, and to keep the target audience entertained. In terms of my digipack, feedback from my album advert and digipack was very useful and also successful, as I got to change a lot. For example, fonts, the size of writing, and due to this, my audience were finding it was tricky to read, probably because it was quite small and it just didn't stand out enough. So therefore, that's something that I went and changed. But that was also referenced before. In terms of social media platforms, my target audience instructed me through my research and through feedback to include social media links, due to living in a modern generation where a lot is based on technology and the media, and therefore this was one way that it could be accessed easily. However, in terms of my feedback, if I was to construct it, I would say that I could have done more, and it could have been in more detail to even prompt me further. However, I do feel like I did get enough to ensure I had a basis of evidence and enough for myself to use to make my product good enough. Furthermore, one more thing I could have improved about my target audience research and feedback is I could have used a more dimension of people. For example, I feel like I didn't access the primary target audience enough. This was due to essentially the environment I live in, the school I go to, where a lot of the target audience are secondary and tertiary, and therefore it'd be very difficult to access the pure primary target audience. However, saying that, I feel like from the research I underwent, and also the research I took and the feedback I got from the secondary and tertiary, as well as parts of this primary, I feel like I really did have enough to back up my product and therefore be successful.